When I first saw Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, I, like most people, was confused and intrigued. I have always been a fan of the top down Zeldas. A Link to the Past has always had a special place in my heart as my favorite Zelda. But after playing last year's Tears of the Kingdom, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go back to a bygone era Zelda. Before playing Echoes of Wisdom, I was sure I wanted another Link adventure in the same vein as Tears of the Kingdom. But after playing Echoes, I realized this is the Zelda I actually wanted. After sinking countless hours into the massive open terrain of Tears of the Kingdom, feeling ill with open world fatigue, it has been a refreshing experience to go on a smaller scale adventure. But don't think for a second that a stripped down experience means that it is not as ambitious with its ideas, while bringing back old Zelda tropes that I have been missing from newer titles. The ecosystem is endlessly creative, and it gives you several ways to solve puzzles or deal with combat scenarios. For example, if you want to dispatch an enemy, you can summon rocks and endlessly use them to pelt your foes. You can cosplay as your favorite summoner class and defeat your enemies by raising the souls of your previously defeated foes to do your evil bidding. Or you can telekinetically lift your unsuspecting foe, drop them into a lake, and watch as they helplessly try to swim for their little life before expiring into a cloud of whimsical smoke. Ooh, kind of got dark there. Ooh. Well, thankfully, enemies can be more than just obstacles and can be the keys to overcoming obstacles of your own. I won't spoil the surprise, but you do get more powers like traditional Zelda titles. I remember before the game Death Stranding came out, the director, Hideo Kojima, had an analogy for the game where there are sticks and tropes. The stick is used to strike or hit things like Link and his sword, but the rope can be used to bring things together, like tying your enemy up so you don't have to harm them. Death Stranding had the idea and touched upon it, but Zelda brings it to life and perfects the idea. Link would use his stick to knock the enemy away and proceed to the goal, while Zelda would tether herself to the unsuspecting enemy and make it lead her to the goal. But if you were a fan of Link's way of dealing with problems, there is plenty of stick to be had. One of the things I felt I was missing from Breath of the Wild were the clever boss fights, where you had to use your wits to find and capitalize on an enemy's weak point. I am glad to report that these types of boss fights are back, and they are as interesting as ever, with Zelda's new and interesting skill set. Unfortunately, the game does fall into some recent Zelda and Switch hardware trappings that I am not sure some people are going to continue giving a pass to. The graphics are nothing to write home about, but the art style more than makes up for it. It looks like a mini diorama made in clay that has been brought to life, and it brings me the nostalgic vibes comparable to a Rankin Bass Christmas special. The assets are lovingly detailed, and it all ties together nicely. But unfortunately, Switch hardware performance issues hinder the experience a bit. I have become accustomed to the Switch's hardware limitations, and every time the frame rate tanks, I go, well, that's the Switch for ya. Most people are used to the, let's say, charm of the Switch's hardware, but if you are sensitive to inconsistent frame rates, you will most likely have problems with this title. 60 frames is the target, but it tanks well below that, and it happens often. The game was more than playable for me personally, and probably most people won't mind, but it does need to be mentioned for those sensitive to it. The other problem I had, and I'm not really sure what a good solution to it would be, is the menus. In Tears of the Kingdom, you would collect a lot of ingredients, items, etc., and you would be looking for minutes in the menu for the right item you needed. In Echoes, you have a similar problem with the echoes you collect, and you collect a lot and often. You can be in the menus for a decent amount of time looking for the right item for the right situation. Many of the items could be used for the same situation, so that helps. And I didn't feel like I was in the menus as much as I was in Tears of the Kingdom, but it is still a problem that could use a clever solution. If you didn't mind it in Tears, then it shouldn't be a problem for you in Echoes. All in all, I enjoyed the game. It was a serviceable Zelda story with with fun and interesting characters, but the inventive gameplay takes the leading role in this one. It is an endlessly clever game, and I had a big goofy grin on my face playing it the whole time. It is easily the best major Switch game of this year so far, that unfortunately has some technical issues and some menu problems. But please do not let that take you away from such a unique and enjoyable experience. It seems so obvious now that maybe Zelda should star in a game named after her, and it would be a shame if she doesn't get another game to expand and perfect the ideas of Echoes of Wisdom. Pros for me here: a fun story that doesn't take itself too seriously, fun and ingenuitive gameplay and puzzles, interesting and varied world map, plenty of enemy variety, which is wonderful, and a lovable new protagonist. And the cons? Of course, the frame rate issues and a little too much time in the menus. All in all, I score this game a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time. Thanks.